Hello and welcome to Movie Mandates. I'm Kelly,
And I'm Andrew.
and this is the show where my brother and I force each other to watch movies based on a specific monthly theme, and it is June, Pearl Clutchers Month. And on our previous episode, we got to watch Brothers' Juicy Pick Cuties, and then I picked Basic Instinct, and that is what we're going to talk about today. But before we talk about Basic Instinct, my pearl clutching movie, it is only fair that brother challenges me in what we call trivial trivia. I'm
Okay,
ready.
this
I'm
this
ready.
week's this episode's trivia is truly trivial.
Trivia. I would
So,
have it no other way.
in the Goofy movie,
I love that
Goofy takes
movie.
his son Max to see the Possum Posse Jamboree.
Yes.
Can you name at least one of the four possums?
Ah! Oh, is there a Wilbur? No. Damn it. Some pond. And like the one is like glitching the whole time.
Glitching out when
Oh my, I can't think of I can't even think of the lyrics to that song. I can just hear
I'll give you a hint.
yeah.
The amusement the full attraction, the place is called Blank's Possum Park. So that's one of the characters' name. The leader of the
Oh,
pet is Blank's Possum. And they're
Ollie?
Blank's
No.
Possum Park.
Yes,
They
I can
start
hear it
yodeling.
too.
Don't you
And
want to be a hanging from a tree? And the parking's always free down at someone's pot
I
pot from Possum Park.
can't think of it. What are their names? Like it's not gonna come to me, but I
Okay.
see every moment of the scene.
It's Lester's Possum Park.
Lester. That was
Who's
not
your
gonna come out.
favorite possum? And so he introduces the I'm Lester, and he goes, and this is Buford, Beulah, and
Banana. Baby. Wilbur. Hortense.
Mordecai.
Morta flipping yes. I remember we made so much fun of We're like Mordecai. What
Poor
sort of
Mordecai,
a
because
name?
you remember he's broken and sparking. It doesn't come up all the way.
And yeah, he's just like meh,
Yeah.
meh, meh.
The reason I thought of that one
Oh my God.
is I was in the kitchen making dinner or something, and for some reason I just said out loud, Mordecai. I'm like, who the hell is Mordecai? Because it was the way
Mordecai.
that name was delivered, and it took me a little bit to that's Lester's Possum Park and the Goofy.
That's hilarious.
Now I
I
actually had
loved
to
it.
rewatch the scene to pick up Buford and Beulah.
Buford. But once you say it though, I'm like, yep, yep, yep,
It's like,
yep,
yeah,
yep.
that's correct. I mean, if I'd given you like multiple choice, you would have immediately picked.
Yes. That's so funny. I love that movie. It is so good.
I haven't
My
seen Goofy movie in quite a while. I should revisit it at some point, see if it holds up. I remember, extremely Goofy movie being genuinely a good sequel too. I'll
yeah,
should
I'll have to
probably,
rewatch them.
yeah.
I have a Powerline shirt even. It's so good.
Yeah, the Powerline tour short.
It's so
Sure.
good. It's so good.
I
Because
don't remember where I found that.
I don't know, but the
I'm pretty
firstborn
sure
that I
it
never
wasn't in a
had.
Disney store. It's probably in a Target or something like that. Or
And it's brilliant and I love it. And when people see it, it's like one of those that it's not just everywhere. So I have a few, you've got like my Animal Crossing shirt is also
hmm.
not everywhere, which is nice. So love it. That is good. I actually there was a moment at our gym or I say like he goes, no, it's a women's only gym. There was a moment at the gym that I go to where we could give in playlists and they would just like play our playlist when we were in class that day. Um and so I was in class and someone had submitted a playlist and they were like, this is Maddie's playlist. And we were like, yeah, I'm so excited. And so, whatever. And then Eye to Eye came on and I was like, Brr? I was like, excuse me, what are we? I was like, this is amazing. I was so excited to work out. It's a good song to work out to.
It
I
is.
I highly recommend doing some burpees too.
So,
Yes, please continue.
get you a extra trivia question
Oh,
here. Who is the vocal performer behind Powerline?
oh, Tevin Campbell,
There
of
you go.
course, because still my heart. I didn't know his name was Tevin because we had really bad pixels on our TV, and I thought it was
And we
Tian. I
missed,
thought the
yeah,
V was a Y.
we misread his name in the credits because we were watching like the VHS.
Yeah.
It's just saying, it's like, who
And
is
I
Ian Campbell? Okay.
and it was like the tray because it goes up, it's in yellow, and it like
And
you
the
could there was a
tracking's kind of
trail,
fuzzy.
and we're
Yeah.
like, is it a bit we're like and I remember like Tevin's not a name. We're like Tian could be a name. Nope, Tevin. It is Tevin Campbell.
There.
So yeah, very, very exciting. Um, yes, that is quite a different movie.
Yeah.
I think it was said best by my significant other. Michael Douglas, you either think he's sexy or you don't. I am on the latter. I don't dislike the man. I saw American President, loved it. Incredible. I've seen him in a lot of things. I enjoy the way he speaks. I enjoy his acting. I enjoy his delivery. But it, the smoke, because I don't find him smoldering, I felt like, oh, you are just, this is a man who was told to smolder and doesn't know how to smolder, and so is playing smolder. But I have to believe that many people thought it worked because he played that character many times over in his career.
Fatal Attractions, the obvious other one.
Disclosure with Demi Moore.
Uh, yeah.
And he landed Catherine Zeta-Jones. So he's doing something right. But when he walked in with that stupid green V-neck sweater.
Oh God, the one he wears to the club. Yeah, that was
that was a no for me, dog.
Yeah, that was a failure. I mean, his suits are they're suits, you know, shirt, tie, jacket. But yeah, that oh God. Yeah, that was
there was a lot going on.
Put a burlap sack up your head.
I was like, this is not what one wears to a club.
When not only did it just look stupid, that was completely inappropriate for where he was.
Yes, she's wearing a skirt the size of a belt, and that's gold and glittery, and he's wearing jeans and like a full-on knit sweater V-neck. Okay, so here's why I started there. I started there because I cannot explain to you how much I have to say about this movie, and I don't think we're gonna get it all in. So let's start.
Did you watch this with Jeremy? No, he's in
your neck of the woods right now. Yeah. Well, not really. He's in LA right now. So no.
Have you seen this before?
No. Okay. No.
Before we start, a couple things I did not know about this movie.
Go.
So movie starts, watching the credits, and I kept doing the Paul Verhoeven. I'm like,
right?
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. I was like,
I'm like,
wait,
okay, this might be a really good movie.
Starship Troopers, Paul Verhoeven?
Yeah, it's like, it might not. I mean, there are some Verhoeven movies that I don't like.
It's Afraid.
It's Afraid. Yeah. Starship Troopers is great though.
So good.
Yeah. Most of his oeuvre, most of his filmography, I genuinely really like. But not all of it. But anyway, so I was like, oh, Paul Verhoeven. And then I think the DP was Jan de Bont. I'm like, holy shit. Oh, okay. Know him. And then special visual effects by Rob Bottin. I'm like, why? And then the first murder happens. So I went, oh, that's why.
Oh, that's why.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And I knew it was Michael Douglas and Sharon Stone. but the cast is just a murder's row of people you recognize. People
Oh,
who it's like that's
it's
that's Ned
Ned
from the
Ryerson.
insurance guy from the Groundhog Day. Yeah.
Who, can we just say, like, I think that they were trying to make him handsome. Like the piercing blue eyes and the you're dealing, like they had him shadowed, and I'm like,
The
was
way they
he?
lit him and framed him.
I was like, I mean, he's not unattractive, but it was like
No,
weird because I see him as Ned Ryerson. Have you
but it was
seen that
a
Doritos
super
commercial?
serious delivery.
Yes, portrayal.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Doritos commercial right now?
No.
With oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to send you a
That
link
actor
after
in
this.
it or
Yes, first
oh.
off, yes, and it's so good. It wins Super Bowl. I mean, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, but
Oh, the
it
Super
wins.
Bowl happened. Uh
A
I
bit ago, some stuff happened.
yeah, man, were there no, yeah, I didn't see any commercials. Oh no, that's right, because there was like a Sunday where just a bunch of movie trailers dropped, and I was like, Jesus, it's like five different movie trailers. So that's the Super Bowl. Um, so I'm sure one of the teams that played won.
Yes, the Chiefs won. Kansas City, Missouri.
Which one was Taylor Swift rooting for?
That one.
Oh, well, okay.
I know. It's okay. I mean, I wanted the Lions to win, but they weren't in it because the 49ers knocked them out for reasons. This is about Basic Instinct, and we don't even have enough time to go over it. So, what is the other things that you learned about the movie that you didn't know about the movie going in, other than
Oh,
the murders
that's
row
about
of?
it. Oh,
So,
I was also kind of tickled to see Hellraiser on the TV in the background. There's middle of the movie, Michael Douglas is just laying on the couches or the Hellraiser's on. So I was like, okay, Hellraiser.
I know that movie. Yeah. So the
Oh, and so I was kind of surprised to see that the scene, the crotch shot scene that everyone
is so early in the movie.
is like 25 minutes into the movie. It's I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
I don't
When he's
know
like,
why I expected it to be well into the movie, but
so did I.
because
Well, I'll tell you
they go and they get into that interview room at like the 20-minute mark. I'm
real
like,
quick.
oh, I mean, she's at they pick her up at her home and she puts on that yellow
Mhm.
white outfit. Really smart dress, actually.
Looks
Put our fashion
beautiful with
police
the it's
press on
great. She
with the
looks
coat.
great.
Looks great. Yeah, love it. Cool design. Anyway, yeah, that's like 18 minutes in the movie. I'm like, oh, I know what's coming.
So me too, because when she put that on, I was like, well, there's that
I
white dress.
recognize that.
So here's the one thing that I will say about that scene in the whole of this movie. And I think,
The interrogation scene.
yes, and
Yeah.
I think that it is because of our age and the desensitivity, but also a few other things. Because when the movie ended, and we'll get to there, and we'll get to the plot of the movie in a moment. But anyways, when the movie ended, I barely remembered that scene was in it. The actual crotch shot, not the interrogation scene. It wasn't like because it was not so early, but you know what I mean? Like because it was early and there was so much nudity throughout the movie, that one somehow didn't seem to stand out for me. So
Well,
that when I got to the end,
you see
granted,
dong before you see her crotch. I mean,
yeah,
granted, it's attached to a corpse, but
sure. But like it's granted, we knew that it was going to be there. So we weren't shocked. Like I can, like, I don't know what I would have thought going in, not being prepared for that. Would I have remembered that by the end of the movie? And that's the thing, because I find it strange now that I've seen the whole movie that that is the lasting everything, not
I don't think it would
the
have
rest of
the
the
impact
nudity.
today that it had back in 92 or whenever this came out. Um,
92.
what I am wondering though is one thing I was actually looking for when that scene rolled around is if it was possibly a body double. Like, did they crop to a close up at that shot and then
No.
pull wide? No, it's full head to toe Sharon Stone sitting there with her knees
Yeah.
agape. So what I was amusing myself with is this little thought experiment is if when this came out in
Right.
theaters in 1992,
Yeah.
if that shot, that you know, full head to toe shot of her sitting with her knees apart,
Yeah.
if that was actually a body double, how many weeks in the theater, how many weeks would have passed through theatrical release before someone noticed that's not actually Sharon Stone?
Uh,
Remember that this was the day, but this was before we really had cell phones that could record anything.
right.
They had to bring like a big VHS camcorder.
You'd have to bring something.
It wouldn't have streamed. It wouldn't have been a. I'm willing to bet that if the because the way the thing is shot, that's where your eyes are going to be focused, even though the full character is in frame.
Yeah.
I have a sneaky suspicion that they could have shot that full body shot with a body double, and no one would have noticed for a few weeks that it wasn't actually Sharon Stone.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Um, you're probably not wrong, but that is also hilarious. Um, so yeah, I thought that was interesting because after the movie was done with all the nudity that we'd already seen, I was like, really, guys? That's what did it. But I guess it's because it's the one time you see it in a quote unquote, it's not sexual, way. You're supposed to see flouncing boobages during. So here's just the very, very, very brass, like very wide angled lens view of this movie. Um, Dude dies at the beginning of the movie. He's killed with an ice pick, post coitus slash at
Mid coitus.
mid coitus during climax, whatever. Um,
Which
and
is as like it happened mid coitus, and then the next scene the cops are in and they're under the UV light and like there's semen
and
stains
there's
all over
semen
the canvas. I'm
everywhere.
like, I guess he never washed his sheets because he didn't finish unless
That's
this
what
was
I
round
was
two or three
thinking.
or
Well,
something.
and I was like, did she just come all over the place? Good for her. But like, so the point is that Sharon Stone's character, Catherine Zermel, um, is a writer, and she a year ago first off, she happens to be the woman currently sleeping with said dead man.
The guy
She
was
was seen with him last night, the night that he died, and she also conveniently or not so conveniently wrote a book about a murder just exactly like note for note for this one. So
yeah,
the
stabbing someone to death with a
with an
knife.
ice pick, post coitus, with tied to a bed with a white silk scarf.
Right, right, right.
And the movie follows Detective Michael Douglas as he
Yeah, I don't
gets
remember the character's name either.
entranced.
It's just Michael
Yeah,
Douglas.
yeah,
Same
as
character,
he
multiple movies.
exactly. As he gets entranced by her and seduced by her and taken in, and he believes she did it. He believes she 100% did it, and so he goes down this very exciting and twisty film noir of who's telling the truth and who's not telling the truth, and would she really be so stupid as to write a book about a murder and then immediately, murder, the person, blah 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 blah
That what
blah.
he wants us to.
Or is that what we want to believe? And oh, have we looked at her past books? And are there, and it just so happens that people in her past books, some of that kind of mirrors her reality as well, blah, 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 blah. And she happens to be friends with a lot of serial killers. So, there's just, and she has the most intense girlfriend I've ever seen in my life. When
Rocket.
they're at the club, she's like, and I'm like,
And she was always left,
oh,
right, left, 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 right. Just
duh, 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 duh.
it's like she
And
had a
like,
move and she was sticking to it.
that was a very intense. I was like, you're making me uncomfortable and I'm not even in the scene with you. And wow. But yeah, it was a very intense girlfriend she's got there.
Honestly, one of the only actors I didn't recognize.
She looked semi-familiar to me, but only in like she may have been in Revenge of the Nurse. She wasn't, but like that kind of a person
Oh,
in like I think I've seen her in the early 90s and something else. She sort of reminds me of someone whose name is not going to come to me, so I might as well. Michelle Williams' best friend, Busy Phillips, is that who it is? Can't be. Anyway, she reminds me of someone. Point is, I want to be very clear because I'm about to pick it apart. I liked the movie. I did. I did not like the ending, not even a little, and I'll tell you why later. But I did. I do enjoy. I was thinking very early in the movie, I'm like, they don't make them like they used to, which is true. And that will be true forever. In 40 years, people will say that about movies that are coming out that are out now. So like I understand that they don't make it like they used to. There's a reason because the zeitgeist has changed. But it was very interesting. And at the heart of it, the story was good. I enjoyed kind of is she, isn't she? Is she manipulating him? Is she not manipulating him? Like, how can you trust her? Does she just have the worst dang luck of anyone possible? Or is she truly orchestrating all of this and she is just the most criminally mastermindly geniusy, whatever, like ever? And I would have preferred not I let's get to the ending later. Did you like it,
Um, as a fan of noir,
brother? Yeah.
um, although this is, you see, in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, noir movies like Double Indemnity and stuff like that, where you this was a type of where you had the hard-boiled detective or cop or private eye matching wits with a femme fatale, and I've got to I suspect her of doing something and I gotta stop her from doing stuff, but maybe I'm gonna fall for her, and oh, it's so tense and stuff. But this was back in the days of like the Hays Code and stuff where you couldn't actually do anything overtly sexual.
Right.
So the actors in this era of film had to smolder. Yeah,
Yes.
they had to rely on the smolder because you couldn't
Yes.
end innuendo and insinuations because you couldn't actually show anything.
You couldn't just put your head between a lady's legs.
Right. And munch on her inner thigh. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I'm like, not the
I don't
direction
know
you need to
much
be
about
focusing.
anatomy, but you're off by a few inches, but it's like I understand what we're
Foreplay.
looking.
It was just the foreplay,
It was the
the
foreplay.
anticipation.
Exactly. He's teasing her. She's like 2 inches to the left,
I know
man.
she's
Come
like, little to
on.
the left. And then it'd be me going the wrong way because of course I don't know my
You'd be
right from
like,
my left.
no, your other left's my knee. God damn it, the other left. All right. So by the time the 80s rolled around, it seems like someone was like, we can show boobs now. We
Let's
should
show them
we should
all the
all the
boobs.
boobs. We can we should we could do these these hard-boiled detective thriller femme fatale film noir kind of things, but
With
actually put all of
boobs.
the
Yeah.
sex and violence in it that they couldn't do back in those earlier decades, which is how we get movies like Fatal Attraction and Body Heat and this one. um I'm not really really into like I like gore, I like fights, I like people blowing each other up, but watching people bone on screen is just not something I find particularly entertaining, especially the way Paul Verhoeven shoots people having sex. I don't know what kind of sex life Paul Verhoeven has, but so many times when he shoots sex scenes, the woman just flails around like one of those inflatable used car sale lot guys.
I will say, Miss Elizabeth Berkley in the pool of showgirls has gotten a lot of flack because, first off,
Oh,
There's
I
so much
bet she
wrong with
was
that scene.
directed to do that
And
because
I'm sure she was because he really
he seems to really like flailing women. And I'm like, this just looks unpleasant.
he
You
just
know,
likes the booby bounce.
you
Because
get some movement out of the boobs. Okay. But um I think the movie's okay. I think it's I don't think it's good, but I think it's watchable. I think
yeah.
it succeeds mostly on the backs of an incredibly charismatic and game cast.
Yes.
Two
Yes.
very good lead performers in Sharon Stone and Michael Douglas, and
She's
surrounded by the
gorgeous.
aforementioned murders row of just recognizable and game
Yeah.
character actors.
Yeah.
Um, Now I have a theory about this film.
Okay, I'm excited to hear it. Go.
I get the sense, and I could be totally wrong here, but I almost think that Paul Verhoeven thinks these movies are stupid. I because I kept going back and forth watching this movie. It's like I don't think this is a 80s 80s and early 90s film noir with all the boobs and violence. I think this is a pastiche of those films and making fun of them because Michael Douglas's character sucks in every single conceivable way. He's just a lousy human being. He's not flawed. He sucks, and he's
Yes.
terrible at his job.
Yes.
All of the other,
Yes.
all of the, especially driving. He's the worst driver ever. He's like so dangerous.
First off,
Every time he pulls up to a crime scene, he nearly runs people over. It's like, what
I
are
have
you
so much trouble with the driving in this movie. Like, there are so many car chases, long car chases. And here's the thing that I find interesting is like, it does not make clear. So there is a scene in which he is following her
Mhm.
on the PCH, which you're not. There's a lot of length of that road where you're just not going to pass because there is zero visibility.
It's for
And
those who don't know, Pacific Coast Highway is a highway along the Pacific Coast that is often very windy.
yeah,
So it's on the side of a mountains.
it
It's
is Highway
very,
1, am I
yeah,
correct? Like it is 1. So
I believe
from
so. Yeah.
our highway system,
Yep,
the one.
goes up the coast. You can look at the ocean. It's really nice, but
It,
it's
some of it has
it's
collapsed into
usually
said
two
ocean.
lanes. It's a dual lane,
Yeah.
traffic going north, traffic going south, and a lot of it winds so much that it's double yellow lines you can't pass a lot.
And either he is the worst follower ever
I'm
because immediately she gets in her Lamborghini, I don't know what she has, and
hot.
is yeah, and is zooming in and out and like blind corners and going into the oncoming traffic to go this way. And you think, and he's following her doing these, suicidal moves. And I think to myself, oh, she's trying to lose him. She's trying to lose him. But she's actually not. I think that's just
I
the
think
way
she
she
just drives like.
drives. I think she just drives like that.
I don't think she even has a rear view mirror.
Yeah, I don't think she even knew, like, and that's the thing is because I'm like, he's not being very subtle if he's trying to like, but like at this point, you have lost the fact that you're tailing, like, she's onto you, let her go.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, wait,
Also,
no,
you're on the Pacific Coast Highway. There's no turnoff. She can't go anywhere. She's
yeah,
just
she's
gonna
not
get
going
far
anywhere.
ahead of you. But
Yeah, but it's just, yeah, so it was a very like the driving parts, and the thing is that it continued. Like I think there were like three, maybe four. I know at least three of these driving scenes, and in each of them until the last one where it's apparently Roxy driving. Well, not apparently, it is Roxy
it is.
driving. um, pardon me. Is she's always doing that, like just like, and it's the immediate. She gets in the car and it's like, oh, here we go, and I'm like, what the fudge is wrong with this woman? Like she's just. You don't have to drive like that, guys. You don't have to drive like a piece of poop.
Yeah. So I have I don't know. I mean, this may just be it's either a pastiche of these movies that's making fun of them by making it so over the top, so violent, so many boobs, so many crotches and dangling silhouettes of Michael Douglas walking away.
And all the raspy, yeah, the butt in the moonlight walks. And
Yes,
all of the, oh, and can I
taking
just
one of those
like,
unmotivated butt in the moon.
when, if the cops come to ask you something, for the love of God, don't play games with them. Like, in these movies, like, that's like just the quintessential noir thing, though.
You're a pretty white woman, you could probably get away with it.
I guess so, but like, they come in and she's
Really a
like,
wealthy, pretty
you
white.
know, of course I know why you're here, but I'm not gonna talk, blah blah. And you're just like, just stop playing games and just be like, yeah, you know, it's just one of those. And I just kept laughing from the get go because even
Yeah.
Roxy does the same thing. Roxy's like, you're gonna want Catherine, I'm not her. Well, who are you? "Oh, Roxy. It's like, just woman, come on.
And hey, police officers, neither of you thought to like make sure that this is the right person.
Well, not just that, you didn't just go upstairs and make sure. Like, I love that they just take everyone's word for it. She's like, I'm not Catherine. You
Oh,
don't know what
okay.
Catherine looks like. You've never met her, and you thought I was her 10 seconds ago. But now I'm going to give you an address, and you're just going to immediately
Seems
go,
legit.
got it. Yep, you win. You
They're
sexy. You
terrible cops.
sexy.
But everything so everything is so heightened, especially the film score of this movie. I
Oh,
adore
oh,
this overwrought film score because everything is just the most.
it's so much.
Oh, so it's so much.
It's
The most
so much.
overwrought, serious, dramatic
Yes.
violins. Like Michael Douglas is at his goddamn mailbox, and the just I'm like, oh my God. I looked up and then completely forgot who scored this film. But
No clue.
whoever that was must have had so much fun because that's one of the main reasons I'm like, this is a joke, right? Because it's also one of those twisty plots that's just got so many twists it becomes really silly, right?
Yes.
So it's either Paul Verhoeven thinks these movies are stupid and is kind of making fun of them, or he just used it as or he's like, oh hey, I get to do this with more boobs and blood.
Yeah.
I'm
I don't
honestly
know.
not sure. I'm pretty sure the person who scored the film, what this was a joke to them because
They
it's
saw the writing on the wall.
so silly. But yeah, but oh, so that's one of the reasons I didn't really connect with it and enjoy it as I might something like Double Indemnity, which takes this stuff really seriously. This
Yeah.
was kind of absurd, but definitely watchable.
Yeah.
So
So,
tonight ever watch again. Can't say I'm
no.
interested in whatever the hell they did with Basic Instinct 2.
Oh, that I forgot all about that. Could have
And
been
Sharon
my,
Stone's in it.
that could have been one of the, they made a
It
sequel.
got a sequel, yeah.
If we ever redo that one, because my good. My gosh. So there is one person we haven't really talked about yet, and that's Jean Triplehorn.
Triple one? Okay.
And the hairdo that is literally bigger than her body. And
Along
as
with their
a,
wardrobe. That was more 80s, but
I mean, okay,
that was more
technically,
the
yes,
fashion of the
I'm wearing a
time.
big old poncho right now. But like her hair was bigger than her body, and her clothes, I could have fit them. Like, and I get, yeah, you're right. That was a very women's baggy business, whatever, you know.
Shoulder
But
pads.
oh my
Oh.
God, shoulder pads, so much, so much. So, yeah, and the lips, she reminded me, I'm like, if they did this movie now, that would be she'd be played by Anne Hathaway. 100%. I was like, that is an Anne Hathaway role right there. So, what time is it? Where are we? Are we good? Okay, so
Oh, we're
here's
good
my
for half an hour.
we're fantastic. So let's talk about more nitpicky things as I walk us through how I would fix this movie.
Ooh,
So,
yes. You didn't give reasons. You said you didn't like the ending. I don't like it either.
okay. So, let's
But it's also exactly the ending I would expect this kind of movie to have, particularly if the director thinks these kind of stories are stupid. If
so
you were trying to make a good one of these, this
yes.
is not what I would have done.
And maybe you're onto something because this is definitely the like wrong ending. And let's get to it in a moment because we're gonna set some necessary pieces. So Mr. Michael Douglas and Sharon Stone start their physical relationship. Like there's a very much, will they, won't they for a little bit, even though, oh, they
Yeah,
gonna
where they just kind of stand like face to face with their mouths
with
open.
their mouth, and he keeps licking his lips, and I'm like, not the time, bro, not the time to take your tongue out of your mouth. But anyways,
And
yeah, so
again, it like goes on for so long that it becomes parody to
comical, is
me.
that what? Yeah,
Yeah, to me, I'm like, okay, this is silly.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that this is just we're pushing it just too far to the point of just absurd.
right. So
Could be
they
totally wrong. It's
the
just
one thing this movie does not do
hmm?
is, as it's going through, that is, you as the audience member aren't are also not sure if she's the murderer or not. They have given, so Jean Triplehorn is a former flame of Michael Douglas's, and then through some twisty and turniness, we learned that she was a former flame of Sharon Stone's when they were in college together, getting their psychiatric, psychology, whatever degrees. Because to boot, both of these ladies are actually quite well educated. You will find out in the movie. So one of the twisty turnies is like, okay, is Jean Triplehorn the one that's like obsessed with Sharon Stone? And so she's, killing people because of, some crazed fan slash lover scorn, blah, 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 blah. Or is it vice versa? Is Sharon Stone crazy and this mastermind diabolical woman, and who is able to set up Madame Jean Triplehorn at Beth? And make it, pardon me, make and like blame it all on her in some wonderful way. So you actually are not quite sure. And one of the things that, and let me just get this one really tiny thing off, is like one of the things that continues way, 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 way too much in the movie is that there's so many times that they make you think that Sharon Stone is about to kill um Michael Douglas. Like, because of the way that she
they're doing
orgasms. They do the
the
orgasm thing so many
cowgirl
times.
righty on top thing. She's flopping back and
Yep.
forth. And it's like, thump. Oh my
Yeah.
God, did she stab him with a ice pick?
Nope.
Nope. And they do that at least twice.
They do that at least twice. And then I think there's a few other things where she's like, she gets something and he's like,
Three, if you want to count the very last sudden movement she does.
yeah. So, I mean, but like, there's a few that you're always like, this is the one that like, no one moves in that way unless they have an ice pick in their hand. And yet all throughout the movie, it's like, no, she actually wasn't killing him in this scene. um, so yes, please. I wanted to make sure that little tidbit was also trickled in there.
I do like the ridiculous, twisty machinations of the plot.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
It is.
It's very silly and it's fun. Uh, Sharon Stone's character doesn't take. I mean, to me, it's like it has to be her because otherwise, why would this? Why would this facade? Because she takes
Yeah.
absolutely nothing seriously.
Nothing. Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
so I was so it's like, but it's so much fun that I don't really care. And the movie's so dumb that I could imagine it being like Jean Triplehorn is actually the killer. I'm like, that's stupid, but this movie's stupid. Whatever. It's like,
Right.
okay, oh, it was Jean Triplehorn. Okay, I guess Sharon Stone's character is just a weirdo.
Freaking weirdo. Cause she's like, I mean, yeah, because like the whole time she's not
Like her
remorseful
behavior
about,
really genuinely does not make any sense unless she's the killer.
exactly. But how
But
I'm
the
going
movie
to
doesn't make any sense.
fix the
Like
movie.
like, why would Gene Triplehorn actually be this guy's assigned psychiatrist? I mean, the fact that they were in a relationship at some point is not a secret to
Yeah.
anybody.
Can we be clear? I don't know why they think, and I
She the
mean,
only
the
one who works
media.
there.
Have you noticed that that's the thing though? That's
Right.
like that's the thing in movies now is like there's always just the one cop psych,
Yeah,
and
they
of
hire
course,
one person, yeah.
that one person has been in a relationship with a troublemaker at, and I'm like, you do realize that it's a department. So just give him a different gal. Like
My,
it's not like, well, it's this one or no one. That's not how it works. But yeah.
like,
So
I don't even know if that would be local to that particular place, but I imagine there'd be an entire building full of psychologists that you could pick from that you could send your police officers to.
yeah, it's bigger
Probably
than
have a
just one.
variety of them that at least a couple that are assigned to these few precincts. But it's like,
Yeah.
let's get another one because these two have been boning. It's
Yeah. They have some
conflict of
weird
interest there.
relationship. Yeah. So an interesting thing is another reason why Sharon Stone and he get together is because she's right. Her next book she's writing is about a cop who falls for the wrong woman. And she tells him at the beginning, and he asks, how's it end? She says she kills him. And then he tells her later in the movie, he's like, what if he doesn't have to die? What if they just live happily ever after? And she says, someone always dies. So, um, there's a lot of death throughout the movie. And there's things make sense as some people die. You're like, okay, well, this one death is framing him, and another time she keeps trying to kill him, and then the saddest death of all is his best friend, who Gus, right?
Gus, yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
Gus. Yeah.
Gus goes into a building
Real prick
to
when drunk, but otherwise a nice guy.
yeah, but like he
Good God,
means
do not
well.
take that guy to Denny's when he's drunk.
No, do not. But I mean, he means well. And honestly though, his best friend is Michael Douglas in this movie. So like A, the company you keep.
Mm.
And B, I would be pissed with him all the time too. That might be my go-to you know, how I act. So he goes into this building because they're investigating the roommates of, Miss Sharon Stone and Jean Triplehorn, and they're trying to find out like which one is the psycho woman and which one is the one that's telling,
Which one's stalking who?
yeah, which one's stalking whom.
Gene Triplehorn
And
obsessed with Sharon Stone and trying to frame her, or is Sharon Stone obsessed with her and trying to frame her?
right. And
Who do we
so
believe? They're
the
both really weird. They're both
and they're
banging
both
Michael
really,
Douglas for some reason.
yeah. And so Gus gets off the elevator on the floor that he's supposed to, and boom, in a rain slicker and an ice pick, he is killed.
Mm.
And Mr. Michael Douglas finds him and then shoots Gene Triplehorn. And they find the rain slicker in the rain slicker in a blonde wig in like the stairwell, and they're like, oh, it must have been her all along. And then
Mm.
they go to her apartment, and she has all the things that are like, yep, it was her all along,
She's
because
got
look,
all
right,
of Sharon Stone's books. She's
all of
got
Sharon Stone's
pictures of her.
books,
She's
she has
got the
pictures.
the gun that killed the IA guy hidden in a bookshelf somewhere.
Yep. So we as a audience
Also
now,
has an ice pick in her fridge or something like that.
we as the audience right now
Mm-hmm.
have, even though everything in us is telling us, really?
At this point, I'm like, it's got to be Sharon Stone. It's going to be really because she planted all that shit. It's going to be
Right.
really stupid if the movie ends and it's like it was Gene Triplehorn. It's like, well, that's just dumb. Especially since not just Sharon Stone's character's demeanor and behavior, but because Michael Douglas went to
Has
her house, saw the pages of she says, I finished my book, our relationship is over, bye-bye now. And he looks at one page, and if you read the page, which
yep,
isn't hard to do because they zoom in on just like 3 lines.
the
It's like,
feet sticking out of the elevator.
yeah, it says the detective's partner goes up to the fourth floor and gets stabbed in the face with an ice pick, and I'm like, And that it's like, come on, man.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing is like when he comes up and he sees the legs out of the elevator, I'm like, oh, it's exactly what she wrote. So
Yeah.
does it then say on there, um, does it say the partner has his legs? It's not the boyfriend's legs, the detective's legs. I
I
didn't know.
think
So
it
I
says the
saw the
detective's
legs.
partner or something
It
like
did say partner. Okay, because
that.
I wasn't sure because
Because I was like, oh shit, Sam or Gus
Gus.
could die.
Well, because I wasn't sure. I was like, I wonder if she meant Gus to be him. But I guess she wouldn't because
No,
she
no, I'm
called
pretty
Gus. Gus
sure.
was the one that got called to go there. So at the very
Right. So
end,
Gus receives a call
yeah.
from uh Gene Triplehorn's former roommate who can
Mm-hmm.
verify some aspects of
Story.
this working theory that they have. And after all of this ice picky shooting Gene Triplehorn stuff goes down, they find out that the roommate who ostensibly called Gus to that place died 2 years ago.
Right. And that the suite doesn't even exist. And he was obviously called there under false pretenses. And
Hmm.
then Jean Triplehorn shows up, and that's why he shoots her, is he thinks that she is the bad guy. And
Hmm.
she shows up and says, Gus called me and told me to meet him here. And then that's another thing that the cops are like, there's no calls that have been missed. There's nothing there. And then it goes to the last scene where um Sharon Stone and he are in bed together, and she reaches over the side of the bed, and he's just like, uh she does the quintessential, throwback and exaltation, and then and you're like, oh, is that the ice pick moment? It wasn't
No.
the ice pick moment, just another good session. And so then she reaches over the side of the bed while he's just kind of like, smoking in bliss. And you think, oh, here it is. She grabbed the ice pick. And then he says something about, like, I like having sex with you, or something just as stupid.
She says, what do we do now? He says, bang like bunnies, raise rugrats, live happily ever after. She says, I hate
I hate
kids.
Rugrats.
He says, fine, bang like bunnies, screw the kids, live happily ever after.
And then she's like, oh, and she comes into him, and you're like, is she gonna kill him? And then no, they just start doing the kissy kissy, and there you go. And the camera, so here we go, spoiling the end of a movie from
That's
the
very
30 years ago,
30,
32 years ago, um, 28 years ago. I don't know. I'm not doing math right now.
22. I think it's
32 years ago. It
1992.
is 32 years. It was 92. So, bloop, and the camera scrolls, doesn't scroll. The camera pans
Hands.
down. That's why I'm like, what is this? What is this motion? It's not a scroll, it's a pan. Hands down, and you're like, what was she going for? What was she going for? Is it actually going to be a yes, it is. It was an ice pick on the ground. And I was like, so that's the problem, is that's where the movie ends. And for me, I'm like, okay, so it is her,
Yeah.
and she set up Jean Triplehorn
Yes.
just that good.
Hmm.
But they don't, it's so freaking glossed over.
Although Roxy dying wouldn't seem to actually have been part of the plan.
No, I think Roxy was meant to kill him. And then or maybe Roxy was meant to scare him, but she was going after him, like she hit him with the car.
I don't know that Roxy went after him at Sharon Stone's behest is the thing.
You think she
I
was just
think
trying to
that
scare him?
I, no, I think she's probably trying to kill him, but I don't think
Oh.
Sharon Stone's character sent her or really knew what she was doing.
So you think that that one moment was kind of real when Sharon Stone was like, shoot, I didn't know. You think I
I
sent
don't
her,
think
though.
that character can be real about anything, but I don't
True.
think I think I would guess that the character probably feels bad. That's not something she planned on. That's something that was out of her control. But I think she's still giving a performance. She's still using it.
I think she's doing a performance throughout the whole dang thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So
But
I think this, if anything, this is the one thing that she because there'd be no way for her to predict that Roxy would actually die.
Right. That's true. That
And
is,
it
yeah.
seems too early to actually kill uh
Him.
the detective off in the story.
Right.
That's
That's
a
true.
weird way to
Okay.
go.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it. But yeah, so I just thought that they try to tie it up like there's no questions asked about Jean Triplehorn. All of a sudden, all this stuff is in her apartment. And I thought, and then you see the ice pick, and I'm like, well, she's gonna kill him. He's gonna die. This can't last forever. Like that's like she's like,
Oh,
ah,
he's not in Basic Instinct 2, so
yeah. Like to her, she's like, ah, another shag won't,
yeah, another
won't kill
shag.
me.
Hurt.
Sure, I finished the book, but another shag won't hurt. I'll kill him later. But it's just like so brazen how like much she kills him and not kills him, but like all these murders and all the brazenness of her, like it's such a it is such a tall tale.
Yes, it's
But
absurd.
so to me,
But also, just what else is absurd is, and this will tie into how I would fix the movie. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts.
okay,
Fix the movie, do it differently. Um, is the more we learn about Michael Douglas's character, the worse he is. It's just
he
we just
really
keep
is
learning about
terrible.
why is this guy still employed?
He's really terrible. And here's how I'd fix the movie. She in an earlier scene, the scene with the white dress has a cigarette holder, which is very large and has cigarettes in it. And I think it's a metal cigarette holder. I have one that I keep my credit cards in. And he was smoking. So in my head, I'm like, you know what? Lean into it. Lean into it was Jean Triplehorn. If you like, maybe that's the fun thing that she is just a
He's just
screwed up
weird.
she is just a screwed up monkey. And you know what? So is he. And so these two just completely broken idiots. And of course, she's obsessed with him because he's shooter and he accidentally kills people all the time. And she loves having murders as best friends. So, like, this could totally suit her random psyche. So when it pans down, it should pan down and see like the open her open cigarette thing as if she was leaning over to get a cigarette and then was just like, oh yes, let me um I'll get that later. So it like to me, if it was like the open cigarette case and you're like, she was net the whole time, it really wasn't her. Like, because everything in the movie is trying to make you think it's her, even to the
Mhm.
very, very end. And then when they show the ice pick, I'm just like, oh man, I just it's so unsatisfying to me
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
like,
just so unsatisfying. Like because you know it's her, and then it is her, and you're like, well, that
okay.
now I'm unsatisfied. So like, would I believe it? No, no, but at least it would be a completely out of the blue ending that you're like, holy crap. The whole thing was a MacGuffin. Like, she really does have bad, juju or karmas or whatever. Like,
And then Ned the insurance salesman is hiding under the bed with an ice pick.
because because he did say, Ned the insurance salesman did say that he kind of explained both sides. Like
Mhm.
if it was an obsessed person or if it was her, you are dealing with someone who is
Off a rock.
unhinged,
Yeah.
unwell.
Mhm.
And so it really, from that description of him, either of these women could have like I'm like, lean into it. If you wanted to make it Jean Triple, they didn't want to make it Jean Triplehorn. She was just a innocent bystander because the whole point is that the basic instinct to kill was in what's his idiot Douglas the whole time.
So, where I thought the movie might be going and was kind of hoping because that would just be more interesting. And then I was like, no, it's not going that. That doesn't seem to be what this movie's intention is. Um, but as we learned more and more about the preposterousness of Michael Douglas still having a job, on the other hand, maybe it's not too surprising. But we learned that so
LA in the 70s. Well, no, I mean, it's not. Do you think it takes place when it was? Yeah, it's in the
yeah,
90s, I
I
guess.
mean,
Okay.
no one seems to have heard of DNA evidence, but yeah, you know,
That was only really introduced in the 80s though, so it was still
yeah,
pretty.
but it was still being used by then.
I
Whatever,
know,
whatever, don't care. Um, look at the woman flop around.
I know. But boobies, brother,
But
boobies.
boobs. Yeah. Pay attention to Vanilla Soft. That's what boobs look like. It's a video game company who has just gorgeous art,
Mm-hmm.
but have never seen boobs.
Oh, is this the boob physics fail?
Boob
The
shape and how they sit and how they move.
yeah.
Um, you know, I love Vanillaware. I think they have gorgeous art. A lot of their games are really fun, but every time I see a lady character, I'm like, no one at this company has ever bothered to Google boobs. It's like you've
Guys,
got the internet, guys.
I
You
was
can
gonna say
go look
they're everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah, you probably go outside and find a few.
Yeah,
Um, anyway, so we learn that Michael Douglas is in mandatory, has to have mandatory checkups with a therapist that he's
right.
with. So not a great uh, conflict of interest there. And so we learn that he was an alcoholic, but he's been dry for a little while.
3 months.
Has stopped smoking too. Okay, okay, cool. So that's nice. So he appeared to have a drinking problem. Why are they calling him Shooter? Oh, he accidentally shot someone.
Tourists.
Okay, tourists. Oh, two of them. Oh. Oh, while
Oh,
he was high on cocaine. Oh. Oh, this is the fourth time in 5 years? Oh, Jesus Christ. He's got a higher body count than she does.
yeah, for real. And yeah, that's unbelievable to me.
So, where I thought this might be going until I abandoned it once I was pretty certain what kind of movie this was. But where a movie with a similar movie with a different intention might go
Yes.
is um Janine Triple Jean Triple
Gene.
and not Susan Sarandon, Sharon Stone are working together
Okay, see, I thought that too. There was a
because
very
the
moment.
tourists that he shot while high on cocaine and drug probably are family members or loved ones or friends or something, and this is all a conspiracy working against Michael Douglas for the evil shit that he's been enabled to do over the last few years at this police department.
Yeah, there was
That
I
which could be really interesting, but that's not what this movie is.
there was I thought that there was a brief moment I thought that too when you started learning that Jean Triplehorn's character Beth knew her. I like at the beginning when she's like, "Oh, yeah, I went to school with her," and then she's like, "Yeah, we had a class together." I was like, "Ooh, they I think are in cahoots," because in the opening sex murder scene, the thing is that it is obviously a blonde wig. So it is obviously it's not obviously Sharon Stone. It is a blonde wig.
Mm.
So it could have been Little Miss Jean Triplehorn coming in, and like he was a rock star or an aged rock star, but like he used to be a rock star. He could sleep with another girl that night, not a big deal. Also, don't think he did because that's also another like she's like, yes, my lover and I went out, and then I decided to go home. And somehow, in between me leaving him and him making it home, he found another piece of tail to take into his bed and comfortable enough to tie him up. Okay,
Like, did
I'm.
he turn around and go back in the club, or did
He
he
was
go
like,
to
oh,
the
okay,
club? Who knows?
yeah. But anyways, so I there was that moment I had that was fleeting as well, actually, that I was like, oh, that would be something if they were like if there was like that big, almost like Scream, like at the end, they throw the voice box and she's like,
Who
hello, Michael Douglas.
knows? Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Just fascinating, fascinating 90s film. Terrible wardrobe choices for every person other than Sharon Stone.
No, Sharon Stone's wardrobe is great.
Brilliant.
Roxy's too. I liked a lot of
Yeah.
Roxy's outfits.
Shoot, her eyes were crazy during that one scene. I'm like, what is happening? Um, but yeah, and and again, like there
Overall, not sure
was
what the point of Roxy's character in this story was.
same with Hazel. Like it's just the fact that
Well,
she's
I
friends with all
Hazel
these.
and Roxy, it's her friends are also killers. She
Yes,
so that's their function, but
she gravitates towards killers, which is
yeah.
why
So I take that back. I know where Roxy's there.
I could have ostensibly believed if they wanted to end it with her not being the murderer and it truly being Jean Triplehorn, it would in a very strange way make sense because she surrounds herself by people who kill, and by God, he's just been doing it brazenly out there, and it might just be one of those things that turns her on. But like that's another thing. Her relationship with even Hazel,
Yeah,
the
but
woman who murdered her
yeah,
family, is weird. They're always like, "All right, darling, I'll be right there." Oh, like it. I'm like, what are these faces that you're making? It's
yeah.
weird.
It's like
Everyone is so
it's like
covert for no
Sharon Stone. I
reason.
don't think you needed to manipulate Michael Douglas into shooting Jean Triplehorn. You could have just sat back and waited. He probably would have shot someone else in the next 6 months anyway.
Oh yeah, it was just a
The
matter
guy
of
has a
time.
pattern.
Like 5 and 4 years,
Or
that is
4 and 5
more
years,
than
something
one
like
or
one of the
something like.
two.
I'm
Yeah.
like, you're looking at
And I don't know how many in each instance because the last one was two
two
different people.
people. Yeah,
It's like, oh my God, this is the hero?
yeah,
And
yeah.
he's bad at driving. He's a terrible cop. He never, and we talked about that earlier when, he meets people to start and he doesn't confirm their identity. I'm like, oh, you're bad at this.
He's real bad. It's real bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
So
glad I saw
crazy
it though.
mistake.
Like it is one
Yeah.
of those things that it was about darn time in just the grand scheme of my life and seeing movies. But and I did
Now more of
genuinely
the
in
jokes in Fatal Instinct makes sense.
yes. And it yeah. But yeah, it I think it was very interesting. I liked because I'm a fan of noir, there was moments that I was like, I love a good twisty turny. This one, I would agree with you, was a bit over the top, but hey, what are you gonna do?
I
You know?
Yeah, and I suspect purposefully.
And you know what? Maybe with that lens, I'll enjoy it even more. Not that I'll ever watch it again, but
Yeah,
like
probably not.
in my recollection, in days later, I'll be like, ah, yes, that spoof of a noir, basic
I'm trying
instinct.
to imagine Verhoeven directing actors into sex, and he's like, "No, flop around like you're being electrocuted. I want grand mal seizure." It's like,
If you don't get whiplash after this scene, then you
yes.
did it wrong.
If you don't sever a cervical vertebrae, you're
Right.
doing it wrong.
There it is. There, that's right. So if sex doesn't drive you to the ER, then try. So, anyways, thus enters, no, thus exits, thus ends Pearl Clutchers month. But movie mandates will continue in July with one of the best names my brother has come up with yet. And that is I Jubilee. So big old
Say that again
monster
because I don't
movie.
think the mic picked that up very well.
Ready? Are you ready? Kai Jubilee.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I have the mic thinks that my regular voice is too high, and it's like, nope, that's a background squeak.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For those who didn't
Incorrect.
hear it, Kelly went into an upper register to emphasize how damn clever and cute that name is, and the mic went, "No, we're
Nope.
cutting that. We're clipping that."
It was like that will hurt people's
It's
ears.
like, no, I
We are
think a mouse
definitely.
farted. You don't want that on the recording.
So no, but Kai Jubilee is a fantastic name. It is fun to say. I
Yeah,
recommend everyone say it a few times in your upper register because it's even more fun.
yes.
So brother, you get to pick first. What? Where's my pen? What do we get to watch? There it is.
Okay, well, I hate to do the obvious and pick
Gojira?
a Godzilla movie, but I really want to see Shin Godzilla.
I don't Sheen.
Yeah, Shin. It's a
Okay.
Japanese word. It means, my understanding is it means roughly like new. So kind of like new Godzilla, like new Coke. And that went really well. So so this
Oh
movie
boy.
came out 5 years ago. It's
Okay.
not the newest one, Godzilla minus one, which just came out last fall.
So this is 18/19 I should look at.
Yes, something like that. Let me
Okay.
look real quick.
Shin Godzilla.
Or maybe it's Shin Godzilla, and it's just about the bit between his ankle and knee.
You don't
26.
know. You haven't seen it yet.
I
What is it?
haven't
I'm
seen
sorry.
it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
20 what? What did you say?
2016.
2016. Oh, I need to really change that date. 2016. Got it.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, that's exciting. I love a good monster movie. And Godzilla.
So my understanding is this one's just kind of weird. Godzilla looks weird. Like he starts out as like a giant worm and then like metamorphosizes into the upright standing Godzilla and like
Okay.
does weird things like dislocates his jaw to spit his atomic breath and stuff. I don't know what the plot of this one is at all. I imagine there's a big lizard and he's stepping on our stuff.
I was gonna say,
But
monster. Monster
yeah.
bad, kill monster.
Yeah, but I love Godzilla, but I generally don't like Godzilla movies. I think there's like 35 of them, and most of them are crap.
Yeah.
You know,
And we've seen
it's
most
fun.
of them.
A lot of them can be fun, just seeing dudes in rubber monster suits, throwing styrofoam rocks at each other, and watching them, sit on styrofoam cities. There's entertainment value there, but most of the movies are not very good.
Right.
But I still really like Godzilla. I don't really care for King Kong, but most of his movies are pretty good. It's a weird dichotomy.
I was
So,
gonna say he has good movies though.
yeah, most of the King Kong films are actually pretty damn good. So, Shin Godzilla, that's what we will watch first in Kai Jubilee month.
All right. And if you would like to watch Shin Godzilla as well, check out our description to see, I can't read today, to see where it is currently streaming or available to rent. And until then, you can watch Movie Mandates on YouTube or listen to it in podcast form on the iTunes. And if you enjoy it and you think that we're awesome and cool, then help us reach a wider audience with engagement. Yes, so if you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, and ring bells. And if you're listening on iTunes, please rate and review. Much obliged. And until then, I'm Kelly. And you can follow me on Instagram at PimentoLivia, just the one O.
And I'm Andrew. You can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen.
And we hope you've enjoyed this episode of Movie Mandates, and we will be back soon with another mandated movie.
Bye.
Bye everyone.